Right now, you have more power at your fingertips than entire generations that came before you. Think about that. That's what technology really is. It's possibility, it's adaptability, it's capability. But in the end, it's only a tool. What's a hammer without a person who swings it? It's not
hundreds of people that are online and those also here. What we're gonna do, we're gonna start time, as you know. It's 9 o'clock, 2 minutes past 9. We're now going to ask Esmu, our co-program director, just to bring greetings, and then we're gonna get started with the program. And let's give Esmu a wonderful round of applause.
No, thank you so much. Maybe we can give Dr. David Molapo a warm round of applause this morning. And I think most importantly, I think I need you to give yourselves a warm round of applause. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. I always have a check in my head whenever I ask people to applaud themselves, that depending on the intensity of the applause, I would rather have to give them something. But in this case, you all leave this place broke. So would you kindly please be generous to yourselves and just give yourself a warm round of applause. Well, thank you so much. I don't have that much money. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. So I bring greetings to all those online and here, of course. What I wanted to say to you, just to start off the tone, is that we are here with what brought us here. But to get there, change is important. So with that being said, I'm just going to cue on the national anthem. And if you wouldn't mind, please, if we can all stand. And the gentlemen will know the heads off, so we can all salute the national anthem. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much for that cue. Today's topic is all about future skills and future technologies. And I think in all these rounded tables and with the beautiful mind God has gifted us, I believe we're all seated and we're all bargaining with the ideas around that phenomenon. What are we talking about when we talk about future skills and future technology? Could it be that all that we know is yet to come to an end? Or could it just spark the idea of possibilities yet to happen? I was fortunate enough to be sent by Dr. David Molapo in one of the provinces to deliver a speech to a number of delegates from one department. And this was the question I had to put on the table, as I would like to do to those online and to all of us here. If we could imagine or reimagine the future, what would it be? How would it be? What texture would it have? What palette would we feed ourselves on, looking at the possibilities yet to happen? So without wasting time, I'm just going to cut straight to the chase and invite Dr. David Molapo to kind of set the tone of why exactly are we here, what to do, what to become, because at the end of the day, none of us are going to leave this place the same. Look at the person next to you. Tell this person, if you don't shake my hand, probably in an hour might be too late. Right? So don't be stingy with those hands. Stretch out to someone else and just grab hold of them. Right. So with a warm round of applause, may we kindly welcome to the stage Dr. David Molapo.
Thanks, Boo. Now, this is not a round of applause. You are educated. A round of applause is round. Please, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. We want to welcome all the SADC people here. And obviously, we've got our wonderful sponsors. But before we get started, Arnold, let's do the I Can Welcome video for our local people and our international people. And then we will get started. Thank you.
Once upon a time, business as usual was often good enough. No more. Where we are going, good enough is dead. In a world where everything is connected, where everything is equally excellent, where performance is reaching perfection, there's only one space left to innovate in: you. Right now, you are a central point in the raging tornado of change fueled by digitization, mobilization, augmentation, disintermediation, automation. Well, the list goes on. Science fiction is becoming science fact. Think about self-driving cars or computers that can learn and think. The way we work will never be the same. The skills we need will be dramatically different. Winning or losing are now happening faster than ever before. So what's your response? How will you discover new opportunities in one of the most transformational times in human history? Are you driving change, or are you being driven by it? Disruption has become the new normal. With change, it's always gradually, then suddenly, well, things really have stopped happening gradually. This change is exponential. Everything that used to be dumb and disconnected is now wired and intelligent. Cars, cities, ports, farms, even our bodies will be wired with sensors and will talk to each other. These game changers are also combinatorial. They amplify each other, creating a perfect storm of change. Quantum computing fuels big data. The Internet of Things fuels artificial intelligence and deep learning, which fuels robotics. However, anything that cannot be digitized or automated will become extremely valuable. Human-only traits such as creativity, imagination, intuition, emotion, and ethics will be even more important in the future, because machines are very good at simulating, but not at being. Yes, robots and software will do some of our work, but this will allow us to focus on things that cannot be automated. To imagine change squared, you've got to start engaging more with what might be, not just with what is. Immerse yourself in the immediate future, 5 to 7 years out from today. We need to go beyond technology and data to reach human insights and wisdom. Technology represents the how of change, but humans represent the why. The future is about holistic business model. The opportunity is to be liquid, to learn just in time, not just in case, not single improvements, but complete transformations, not individual systems, but new ecosystems. Humanity is where true and lasting value is created. We will engage, relate, and buy things because of the experiences they provide, because of their transformative power. The future doesn't just happen. The future gets happened. The new way to work is to embrace technology, but not to become it. The future is in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. Let's live and lead from here.
The video has done a lot of things for me, so that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Today, we are going to be focusing on the tech side. And then tomorrow, we talk about the life leadership stuff. About the what there? So we're going to be here to inspire you. We're here to challenge your thinking. And for me to do that, let me quickly bring our sponsors and our partners. Can I have Asif to come up here? Matebo, please come up here. Asif, Ali, come up here, please. And Ndate Neville, please come up here. You know, most of you know that I'm a preacher, but it is true, without money, you can't do anything. In God we trust, all else needs cash. Come, don't look at me like that, guys. I say, in God we trust, all else needs what? Zaga, nyugu, cash. You know. Ali, you are my brother and my partner. You are like Aquafresh, 3 in 1. You're from Italy, you live in Morocco, you live in Dubai. Why are you supporting initiatives like this?
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you, David, for inviting me here, because I believe in the projects. First of all, my name is Ali. I'm Lebanese-Italian origin and based between Dubai and Casablanca. Plus, I'm in South Africa because I love this country and I bought small land this side. And I'm here because, as I told you, David, I believe in South Africa. I believe in Africa also because I was working at Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Italy, and I know how much Africa is important for the world. So we believe in the future, in the educations, and that's why I'm here. And because also you pushed me to stay here. So, so that's fine. But whatever, it's relating also to finance. And this is my background, finance and funding projects. So please, you can have a talk with David about it so we can just see it together in case you have a good project to be financed. Thank you, David, again for inviting me, and good luck for your day.
Thank you, but you forgot to tell them 10% goes to the man of God. You know, you must finish everything. You know, it's just not finance. 10% comes to me. I know this is live, you know, so when Matori, come and join us there. Thank you. Let's give Ali all the way from Casablanca, Dubai, to South Africa. Thank you. As if we are privileged that we had a relationship with Microsoft for many years. I've spoken at your conferences. Lillian spoke to us when we were in Namibia. Where's our Namibian brother? Please stand up, Ambrosius. This is Dr. Ambrosius. Let's welcome him there. But as if you are an NTO, and before, you know, people are asking, man, what happened 3 days ago, Chief?
Yeah. Okay, so let me focus rather on the NTO. Because the other one wasn't really a Microsoft problem. No, yeah. Okay, so National Technology Officer, a lot of people ask me, what does that mean? You know, these multinationals have such unique titles for their people, and we kind of make them up because we just, you know, have such unique roles that we play in the company to kind of define technology as we go forward. So the NTO role focuses on 2 things. One is on the technology side, obviously, so technology evangelization. But the other important side is working with governments closely around policy and regulation to actually help enable technology to be real for all of us as we are today, to make it responsible, to make it ethical, and to make it obviously serve the population and the communities that we actually all provide technologies to. So we're privileged to be here today, so thank you so much for making us part of this event, and thank you so much for putting it together. I think so, you know, this space that we're talking about right here is where we make a difference. You know, education is the cornerstone of everything that we do. We all understand that, and we all know that, which is why we are, as a Microsoft, so passionate about working from an education perspective. And we do so much education in our own right to educate people around the technologies that we develop and we sell. But this partnership, hopefully today and from the past and going forward, will continue to transform what we're trying to do as an organization. So we're looking forward to this partnership, not as just today, but for the future. Thank you.
Asif, thank you so much. I know today you're going to be talking about Microsoft AI, TVET or university. DG is excited about that, but it's not yet accredited. So we need to help accredit them because it's new stuff. Yeah? Thank you. Folks, let's get, where's other people from Microsoft, please, if you can stand up? Other team members from Microsoft. Sis Helen Mohasho, thank you so much, sister. God bless you. Thank you so much. Again, it's all about networking. So, okay, aus Helen, please let's show we connect. Thanks so much for your support. God bless you. Okay, thank you. Net Campus Group, you are the boss, Manamrain. Hey, I get it. We need to highlight, DG, I always say we need to highlight black excellence. You know, I know it's the government of national unity, whatever, but you know, how does it feel being the boss of Net Campus Group? First of all, tell the people your name and what you do.
Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm Tebogo Makatu, the CEO and founder of Net Campus Group. I can do it because I have experts and very capable colleagues and partners here who always support. We have 100 other people that are in the office. Yeah, I just come here and talk, but they do the work.
And I hope for Trevor and Deandre, for your KPIs, this is important. Remember, this is live, you know. Remember me in days like this. You're okay. You know, we've got CEOs of TVET colleges, universities, SRC members, and it is true, when I was the director of Dimension Data, that women have this gift of being great in technology. And at the right time, we need to talk about that, because we've got a lot of unemployed women graduates who are sitting, and we hope that out of Trevor's presentation today, DG's talk, that we need to be practical and work with you. But thanks again very much for your support. Let's say viva to Netcast Campus Kikim Kilkomri. Thank you. Thank you, guys. You may be seated. Thank you. Before I go, the last to Matori, Gershom. Where's Gershom? Gershom. Where's Gershom? Gershom, please stand up. You know, this young man drove all the way from Nelspruit. He's a gospel singer. You guys know him. And a best-selling gospel artist, but he's an engineer. I want to say thank you so much. Because, you know, people we look good, but they don't know where the money comes from. So today I want to say thank you so much. I know you do this thing quietly, but I appreciate you, my man. God bless you. Matori, you talk about money. Yeah, because money answers all things. What is your company and why are you always supporting ICANN?
Okay, thank you very much, Doc, and the ICANN team. My name is Mahlori Ngobeni, the CEO of the Helping Hand Financial Wellness. So we are in the space of finances, on the debt counseling side, financial wellness, consumer education. So we, we have partnered with ICANN because ICANN believes in reviving people who have fallen behind when it comes to financial literacy. A recent study have revealed that South Africans are failing to cope financially, and that as the major contributor is the low score when it comes to servicing debt. They borrow debt, short-term loans, and with high interest rate. When it comes to repaying them, they fall behind. They have what we call return debit orders, unpaid, defaulting, and stuff like that. So there is a huge need for financial literacy and financial discipline. That's why we partnered with ICANN team.
But not only financially, there are some people live here and online, and the statistics are not good, because the so-called affluent people are actually more in debt than the so-called ordinary people. So how do you practically help them? I know that you've got your table up there, you'll be able to help them. Give us 1 or 2 ways, and then I know they're going to be with you the rest of the day.
Yeah, well, we are outside, we have a table, we have a stall outside. We can engage with them. We can pull a credit report when you want to see your things. Or there's an account that you have forgot about it and is having a negative impact. So we are able to engage with them if they are busy. But most importantly, because I can see today there's decision makers here. There are people who are running companies. Your employees, you are seeing a low production in the workplace because people are thinking about their debt. They are thinking about the debit orders. On payday, production goes down. So we are more than happy to partner with you. Come to your organization, come to your workplace, and do financial wellness. Educate them. Those who find themselves overcommitted, we can show them that government has made provision according to Section 86 of the National Credit Act to rescue them out of debt, to help them get out of that as you call it in your book, debt trap. so we can educate them in that way. So today we are outside. We are more than happy to network, engage with decision makers, and make a forge working relationship that we can push forward.
Thank you so much, Matlori. We have reached more than 100,000 people, and we hope out of this group will also continue to help our people, because money is important. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Matlori. Where's Neville? Did Neville run away? Where's Neville from Gauteng? Okay. Tomorrow, Tsepo, the CEO, will be here, so that's fine. Folks, without a waste of time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce my Grootman. Grootman means big guy, Ali Grootman. You know, man that is groot, you know, Grootman. Yeah. I was privileged to meet this man. I just came back from exile with all my degrees, including PhD, 2 of them. My first PhD was in comparative religion. That is why I like religion, but my second one in leadership. And Asif Austebogo, that time, I'm a maths and science teacher, teaching calculus before I left South Africa. At the age of 18, I was teaching at Pulong High School, one of the youngest teachers. Came back, Mandela said we must come back. Went to the Department of Education before you guys, okay? And they said, don't call us. I'm still waiting in case some of them are still, listening there. So then we started the ICANN Foundation, but we wanted Ndabe Zita from Saibono to get involved, Helen, in the schools. And then I got connected, of all the places, KZN. Remember, my mama is colored, and my dad, Kimupedi. So I'm a real South African cocktail, mixed. So, I had now to learn to speak Zulu. That time, the late King Zwelithini, may his soul rest in peace, he used to call me Mlambo. Ari Zulu and Mlambo Maula. This is the first time you hear this. And then through King Zwelithini, and then the king, and then through Ubabu Kachabuteles, may his soul rest in peace. They said there is one man that you need to meet, one guy that you need to meet by the name of Dr. Nkosi Sishi. And then I made a call. Funny enough, he picked up my call. I said, this is interesting leadership. You didn't have to follow all protocol. And then I set up an appointment. I went with Riza. When I went up there, 5 minutes, we just connected. He says, what is it that I can do for you? I said, sir, Bishop Kabida said, I am passionate about young people. I've got money, I've got influence, but I need to leave a legacy, not a vacancy. I want to leave a footprint, not a bum print. Something. And then this man, with one phone call, opened the whole KZN for us. And I want to say to you publicly, God will only reward you. You don't have a clue from a couple of years ago what ICANN Foundation has done, not only in South Africa. We are in 27 countries. Today, we are in SADC. People are watching us all over. And come on, let's give him a good hand. Thank you for believing in me when nobody could even believe in me. And today, without all the speeches and introduction, he is Googleable. He's what? Dr. Nkosi Sishi. He's now part of the Government of National Unity. I've got to throw that one in there. Gotta throw that one in there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all stand up and a keynote address by Grootman Ibrayetu, the Director General of DHET, Dr. Nkosi Sishi. Trevor, can you use the podium? Can you take your stuff up there? Then we'll set up again, okay? Sharp. Yeah. Sir, all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Dr. Molapo. You are very kind. Somehow you got me thinking about a lot of things we've been doing since the advent of our democracy. And what a wonderful opportunity to be here. We are humbled to be a part of such a program. When I got this invitation, I thought about what the preamble of our Constitution says about future skills. If you look at the preamble of our Constitution, it speaks about freeing the potential of each person. Freeing the potential of each person. I actually think that this is an injunction to all departments of education in the country. Now, the reason I'm saying different departments, it's because many people, when we say you are from a department of education, they think of education only in formal terms. But education is formal, but it also informal and non-formal. What we are doing here, networking and embracing the programs of the ICANN Foundation, it is actually part of education. In the country, we've got one single system of education, but multiple departments that provides education. For example, arts and culture is education. Without arts and culture, education is incomplete. Science and innovation is education. Sports and recreation is education. Basic education is a department of its own. And then the Department of Higher Education and Training, of which I am privileged to lead. And our mandate is post-school education, which means all of those young people that falls off from the program of basic education and those that are unable to continue beyond basic education are a responsibility of the department that I am responsible for. And that means through our TVET colleges, we provide the skills that are needed in the country, train young people, help them fulfill their potential. With the universities, it's a post-school education and training system that is one of the best in the world. If you care to know, of the 26 public universities in our country, 13 of those universities are amongst the best universities, best 500 universities in the world. It doesn't matter which ranking system you are looking at, you will find at least a minimum, an average of 13 South African universities. In the top 10 in Africa, 7 of the top 10 universities in Africa will be from South Africa. So it's a system that has a huge potential. But on the other hand, the legacy of the past have created something, which President Thabo Mbeki in 1998 suggested we have 2 nations in our country. By so saying, meaning that there's one community that is affluent, that lives in urban areas, and it is, rich. And you have the other community, which is poor and generally living in rural areas. Today, it's a different scenario because you no longer have 2 countries like they were in 1998, because the poor follows the rich. Wherever you see rich people, next door to the rich, there will be poor people. And so the scenario in 1998 and the scenario today is completely different. Program director is a privilege to be a CEO. I can, for IR, Dr. David Molapo, and the First Lady, a very good morning to you and warm greetings from the Department of Higher Education and Training. I'm not alone here. I'm with some of the most capable colleagues that do the work, and I do the speaking. And they are here, and I'm privileged to be with you, and thank you very much for supporting the work that we are doing. Partners of ICANN 4IR, the CEOs that are present representing respectable organizations that are in partnership with the ICANN Foundation, the chief information officers that have been introduced, and earlier on the directors from the corporate that are with us here, the representatives from Microsoft Africa introduced earlier on, those from Campus Group are here as well. Others will join us, others are online. We are proud of the work that you do, and we are privileged to live in a country that has prioritized education, that sees education as an instrument to free the potential of each person. Heads of departments, deputy directors general. I met last night the deputy director general representing the Gauteng province, one of the provinces that really make us proud in the work that you do. It was such a privilege to meet you, and we are looking forward to engaging you on some of the thoughts that we would like to share with this distinguished audience today. Civil society representatives, most importantly student representatives. I'm always at a very difficult relationship that I have with student leadership. Recently I said to the student leadership, remember that there are more than 3.5 million young people sitting outside of education, not in education, not in any form of training, and unemployed. And therefore, if we were to split the resources of our country amongst ourselves, we will still be. A full education and training system on its own caters for about 2.5 million young people. About 1.1 million are in universities, about 500,000 in TVET colleges, and the rest are split in our skills program run by the 21 seaters, and 2.5 million young people are in education. If we sit alone and we exchange ideas, and I said to Dr. Molapo yesterday, over the years we've been circulating ideas amongst ourselves to a point where actually there's nothing new anymore. Each time it sounds like something you've heard before. Yet the are a different set of problems that are actually threatening the very democracy that we are sitting in. What kind of democracy do you have if you've got 3.5 million young people sitting outside, not employed, not in any form of training? It's just a matter of time before we confront the rate of our continent these days, and God forbid. And that is why this conversation is important to us. That is why we are here. That is why I would leave everything else to come here, because equipping our institutions with relevant curricula. In the last number of years, we initiated a program called Labor Market Intelligence Program, because what we wanted to do was to go into the future we have chosen, to look into the future of our dreams and say, how does that future look like? So that we are able to track backwards and say, this is how our institutions need to curriculate. This is how our programs need to focus at. Because otherwise, if you are not careful, you will find that you have a system that keeps producing itself and has nothing to do, and this has nothing to do with the real issues on the ground. So the Labor Market Intelligence Program sought to do research. We worked with economic modelers to look into what are the skills for the future. And if these are the skills for the future, what should we be teaching our young people now? And if you align the destiny of your system with the programs we are offering, what will happen is that you will produce results that do not assist the country as we would like to see. During the 2020 State of the Nation's address, President Ramaphosa, and I'm really suggested that our prosperity as a nation depends on an ability to take full advantage of rapid technological change. This, you can call it the fourth industrial revolution. Others are saying it's the fifth industrial revolution now. But the point is, it's a rapid technological change that requires the rest of the world to keep pace. And this is actually the challenge. Most of the people are very complimentary about what we've done in developing policies that are the pillars of the education and training system of our country. But they are quick to point out that notwithstanding this, but what is happening in our institution is misaligned to what policy injunctions are saying, is misaligned to the DNA of those policies. If you want to test the veracity of our policy, you have to track the architecture of our policies. You have to track the DNA of our policies. Look at what is the problem. Why did we choose to prioritize this problem and not this other problem? Because what we don't want is that after every change of government, there's a new set of priorities. No sense of where it is going. There is no sense of what it wants to teach its young people. And so it is important for us to be here in education, to not to speak to you, but to listen to you, not to tell you what needs to be done or to speak authoritatively about programs we run, but to identify the gaps in the programs that we run so that we strengthen the system that so many poor people of our country rely on. Without that system, they will not survive. As we heed the mandate, we must appreciate the fact that these rapid technological advancement, our efforts, given the fast-growing and ever-changing pace in technology. This is evident as we now experience usage of new technologies such as artificial intelligence, cloud computing. In Gaza, it is us who must stand up and say, enough is enough. Even when the biggest powers with the biggest guns are afraid to speak. It is this country that stands on the shoulders of Nelson Mandela that must speak. Today we are speaking about the future skills, and it is as important as those matters I've made reference to. Because if we fail in the area of skills development, we fail the next generations in their mission to save this world. It is that important that we succeed in what we do in skills development. The president of our country has identified this as an important area. So what the president has done, he has appointed the deputy president to lead the Human Resource Development Council. The Human Resource Development Council is responsible for the HRD strategy of the country, which means all of the human resource or human capital development strategies in our country work through to the strategy that the deputy president of our country is responsible for. One of the weaknesses of South Africa in human capital development has been that there's been misalignment between the work that we do at national level and the work that provinces are doing and the work that local governments are doing. And what we are trying to do now is to try and review the HRD strategy of the country. I am privileged to be working with a team that is currently doing what I call one country, one plan. This one country, one plan seek to eradicate the multiple skills development programs run by different countries, different departments, run by the private sector, individual institutions, to create one single plan for South Africa. And I think this work is going to be embedded in the work that we did with the Human Science Research Council as we were doing the Labor Market Intelligence Program, where we started doing modeling of skills in the future. We also write the list of critical skills in the country for the Department of Home Affairs, because when we deal with any non-South Africans coming to the country, sometimes it should be on the basis of what kind of skills you have that we do not have in the country. And so it is also our task to draft that list of skills. Annually, we also produce a report called Occupations in High Demand. Every 2 years, we produce this report, and I invite you to look into our website to access these reports, because they begin to say, in the last 2 years, we said these are the critical skills, but now the following are, or this is an update in terms of that list. So it is important, therefore, for us to heed this mandate of the presidential injunction, and in fact, the injunction by our constitution, free the potential from the way we live and the way we work, as the jobs are being redefined and as the jobs are being recategorized. This change is inevitable. We must face it head on. We must be prepared to do more than just talking. We must now get to the level of doing. We must get to a point where we prepare ourselves to change our mindset, to change the status quo for the better. We are compelled to change completely, lest we crumble while stuck in obsolete and outdated practices and methods of driving catalytic interventions that drives our economy. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, our institutions of higher learning, especially our TVET colleges and universities, we've got 26 universities, and these are public universities, but we also have 150 private higher education institutions. We have 50 public TVET colleges, but 126 private TVET colleges. We have got 9 community education and training colleges in the country, but there are more than 256 learning centers that are all over the country to try and make education accessible to the underdog, to make education accessible to the poorest and working people of our country. This is what we are doing. We are one of the few countries, and recently I had a call from UNESCO, and they were saying there's a problem with the South African education. We think you're putting too much money in education. The standard, the UNESCO benchmark is expenditure of around 4 to 6% of your GDP, and so. But in South Africa, our expenditure on education is 7.1%. That is by far above the UNESCO standard. So they wanted to know, where do you put this money? They wanted to know and track each and every cent we spend in education, so that they are able to guide us if maybe we are putting money in a wrong place. Somewhere, as we're having this discussion, we come across a program called NSFAS. In the time, I spent about 53 billion rands in that program. Let me tell you, right now, as I speak to you, in NSFAS, we are funding, slightly above 800,000 young people in our country. These 800,000 young people that are funded through NSFAS are not funded tuition; they are funded accommodation. They are funded learner support material. We pay for their accommodation. We pay for their transport. All they have to do is to just get themselves to class. There's no country like that. Even the richest countries in the world, South Africans like to rubbish their own initiatives, but they don't pay attention to it. Nobody said, this program called NSFAS is the best, and it has no areas that needs to improve. Let me tell you how we started NSFAS. It was President Nelson Mandela walking around this country, meeting young people that were not at school simply because their parents could not afford education, who started NSFAS. And President Mandela started a program called TEFSA. And many and some of you might stand up and say, I am a product of TEFSA here. And at some point, we had about 7,000 young people who were beneficiaries of TEFSA. It was a loan system. You would be loaned, and when you finish your studies, you pay it back so that you make money available to another 7,000. But it seemed at that point that as much as this was successful, we were not getting to a point where we do what President Mbeki said in a number of years ago, that the staircase from the second to the first economy needs to be broadened. He was appreciating the fact that our policies are able to get a few from the second economy to the first economy. But that's not good enough. Until we scale up, the numbers of people benefiting from those programs, the people of our country will think we haven't done what our mandate is. So the president at that time said, broaden the staircase so that people move en masse from the second to the first economy, aligning this view to how we develop the national qualifications framework. As I was sharing this with some of my colleagues yesterday, we were sitting like this somewhere in 1993 with the working people of our country, discussing what kind of education do we need for the kind of South Africa we want. And it was clear that there was one line on one side and the other line on the other. This one line was about education. You get to matric and you go to university, you are trained, you get a job, and you become a graduate. And then on the other hand, you've got people who are skilled, but there's no mobility, there's no articulation for them. They are stuck where they are. And in that conference, we agreed that what we need in terms of these two lines is to put panels in between the two lines like you've seen in a ladder. And so that if you are on this side of training, you are able to walk to the other side of education. If you are on the side of education, we are able to move to the side of training at any time, and this must be seamless, and this must be highly articulated, so that when you go to a community education and training to learn how to bake, when you want to learn to dance, how to dance, or you just want to learn a skill that you never had a chance to learn in a particular time, but now you have time to learn that particular skill, you can move and you can walk into our community education and training colleges and you can learn that skill. But once you have accumulated those skills, you can easily articulate into university. When you get there, the credits accumulated from that education can easily be recognized, and therefore recognition of prior learning becoming one important tool we have failed to implement over time, and which requires us to reflect upon and say, what is it that we need to do to get it right? And most of the time, it's all about gatekeeping. When you produce skills, particularly amongst the poor, those who are gatekeepers in the economy feel threatened, and they begin to undermine your own programs. And so they start pointing fingers at RPL programs as if they are programs that are just there to get comrades ahead and nothing else. This is something that we need to talk about, South Africans. If we are going to get ahead, we need to speak truth to power, but also we need reasonable engagements between the governed and the governors. And it is therefore important for us to sit like this through the ICANN Foundation and start engaging. And this is not the only platform. And as an official of government, I'm involved in many other platforms similar to this. And I encourage each one of them to continue doing this work, because you cannot do enough. And in fact, alone, Dr. Molapo, you can't get anywhere unless, one time, each time I work as the executive authority of the National Skills Fund. Most of the time, I receive projects or project proposals from many young South Africans who say, I've got this beautiful idea. I think this is going to work. And each time I speak to them, I say, little excellent initiatives in corners are not going to change the country. We need to learn to scale smaller programs that are doing well so that we've got more young people getting trained and benefiting from such programs. At times, we actually don't need any new programs. We just have to look into existing programs and scale them, and scale those programs up and make sure that they absorb the many who are sitting on the sidelines and in the margins of our society. There are challenges in technology, and one of the foremost challenges is the rapid pace of the technological advancement and the emergence of Industry 4.0 characterized by the automation, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, is required by the workforce. However, many of our institutions, especially our TVET colleges, are still operating with outdated equipment and teaching methodologies. If you ask me, if you were to fix one problem in education, and by fixing this problem, the little stone you're putting in a pool of water will start rippling until it touches the entire volume of water in the pool, I would say it is about how we train our teachers. And I think it is the one particular issue that we need to deal with and we need to confront, because what has happened is that our teachers have become highly unionized. And so what they do in their engagement with the state, it's always about their working conditions. But actually the priority, which is about freeing the potential of each person, is actually sidestepped, and the actual agenda is lost in that process. So it is important for us to think carefully about what do we need to do to ensure that the teacher, because you see, at some point in this country, we're talking about young people in learning under trees because of poor infrastructure in the country. And we have resolved that issue. I think if you have noticed, in most of the schools that we've been building in the last number of years, you can see the progress we are making. But where we have not made progress is to ensuring that this physical access to education is translated into access to quality. And access to quality is what defeats us. If we were to make sure that the young people accessing education in that school in the village, in that school in the township, they are accessing quality, you will change the fortunes of our country. And that's what we are tabling before you, because we know that needs to be done. But if you ask me if I know how we need to achieve it, you might find that I'm not able to articulate a clear direction. And that's why we need partnerships. That's why we need collaborations with the private sector in particular. The time is over for the tension between public and private if the interest of the country has to be prioritized. It's about time that we work together with the private sector, embrace one another, because the destiny is the same. One former Afrikaner, prime minister, at some point said, if you shoot in the white spot, it will still die. And I think the point that he was making is that we keep, articulating artificial differences between us, that means nothing. Any 5 people sitting together is something different amongst them. Must they kill one another? I think it's important for us to realize that it is irrelevant what's the color of your skin, what your race is. The world has become one now. South African is, if you were to employ everyone who's unemployed in this country, this economy has no potential to do so. So it's important for us to produce human capital that is capable of moving into any economy in the world and be absorbed, because its quality is as good as any quality produced in any corner of the world. And all of this to be achieved, it requires us to work together and make sure that we deal with the issues. Unfortunately, I do not have enough time to go through the issues that I wish to share with you, but I'm going to leave you my paper with you. The title of my paper is Freeing the Potential of Each Person. It's embedded in the Constitution, but it's also embedded in what I have experienced in the labor market intelligence program, where I've seen, at some point, we just couldn't afford the economic modelers that we needed to assist us developing this program. But when we started working with international universities, we started tapping into researchers across the world who were actually ready to just come to South Africa at their own cost and assist us to get this work done. We did not need a tender to get the work done. We just needed to extend our Ubuntu and our personality as South Africans, and we are able to tap. In other words, in those issues that are obstinate, that are difficult, on our table, there is still an opportunity if you open yourself up and you are ready to work with others that you haven't worked with. I had, as I conclude, an opportunity last week to be part of the first seating of the government of national unity, as chaired by our president. And none of us understood how it was going to work. We've never experienced this. Some people think that in the first GNU of President Mandela, it's the same as this. It's not. That one, there was one dominant political party, and the rest were there at the invitation of that party. Right now, we've got everyone sitting around the table feeling that they've earned the right to sit around the table, and you've got to listen to what they have to say. And I can tell you, after 2 days, the president locked the room and said, when you leave here, you must give me at least a program on the basis on which you are going to be working together. And I think South Africans know the president has since addressed us, and he has spoken to the nation to indicate that there is a medium-term development plan that we have tabled, and it is agreed upon across all of these multiple parties that are sitting around the table. I'm not suggesting it's the best thing to happen to our country, but that is what we signed up when we said we wanted a democracy in our country. Now you have that democracy, and rise up to the occasion and make yourself, and make your own contribution in that regard. It's important that as I conclude, I also indicate that as a country, South Africa, we are really, really fortunate that we work within the SADC region with countries that have integrated in our societies to a point where it is possible, when you start a project or when you start a school, to actually embrace the rest of the continent. When we introduced NSFAS, we also said at least 5% of students that are funded should be students from the region, should be students from our continent. And that is how you build a people, that is how you build a country. But that little stone is not enough to get the entire pool to ripple up until the edges of the pool start feeling that something is happening. We need to touch the lives of all South Africans. We need to realize that when you drive around any township, you know, I used to work with a gentleman called Aaron van Rensburg. He is a former Vice Chancellor of the University of Johannesburg. He was my first boss as the Deputy Director General at the time I joined the government 38 years ago. Most of you were not born then. And at that time, he said to us as young officials, you need to be humble, and you need to be activists. You need to work with your people. You need to be alert to artificial differences between the middle class and the working class. And I can tell you now, if we have defeated apartheid, we now are confronted with huge class issues in our country. And it is important for us, as we engage in our policies, as we test the veracity of our policies, to also say, what are we doing to make sure that we do not resolve the issue of race and then find there is an issue of class that is taking us 300 years backwards. Thank you very much. It's an opportunity.
You've heard it correctly. He's not a horse, he's a DG, from the DG's mouth. DG, thanks so much for giving us hope, because sometimes, you know, we do a lot of these conferences, and Afrikaans, hulle sê, ons is heeltemal nar met seminars, you know what I mean? So thank you so much that you've given us a roadmap. And yes, we're going to be engaging today and tomorrow to even challenge, you know, the government, because some of us have been in these things for a long time, and it is true that we've made some contributions, but I think this statement is powerful, that one is too small a number to achieve greatness. I repeat, one is too small a number to achieve greatness. The private-public partnership is key, sir, for us to address the imbalances of the past, particularly by giving the African child a wonderful hope and a future. So again, let's give it up for the DG of DHET, Dr. Nkosi Nati. I'm going to ask the CEO of Special Olympics to come in and give the DG some gifts. Obviously, these are my books. You must make sure you declare them. So, you know, we are moving to Governor of National Declare, you know. Yes. Yes. This is my sister. Is Sanasi here? Sanasi, are they here? Sanasi, please get the South African Association of National Association of Special Educators. Let's welcome them. Thank you so much. Yeah, before you hand it over, ask him a question. This is a good time to do that, my sister.
DG, as Dr. Molapo mentioned, I am the CEO of Special Olympics South Africa, and we currently represent 57,000 athletes, as we've referred to them, across South Africa. I think the challenge from our side is that they go to school for 12 years. Most of them, some of them doing 13, 14 years. And they leave school with absolutely no certification that enables them to apply for any employment in this country. What can we do to work with you to change that? Because at this point, most of them leave school and are unemployed with no hope of going for further education. And with matric being the accepted benchmark for employment, even as a shelf packer in some companies, they have really very little access to any way of improving their lives. So I just wanted to ask how we can potentially work with you to address that issue.
Wonderful. And let me also make a disclaimer. I'm blessed to be the patron of Special Olympics because those young people are important. So now we've got the DJ live and he cannot run away because we cannot talk about people's specialties only. And isn't that interesting that Special Olympics athletes do better than our so-called other Olympics?
Absolutely. We are the biggest medal winners in the country. Very proud to say that.
And I hope Minister Gayton is listening to this, okay? DG, this one is because it's now high-tech. We've got 13 of my books, including the new one that I'm releasing tomorrow, Leadership for 2030 and Beyond. Skills that are necessary. I'm going to be talking about it tomorrow. I'm doing a motivational talk, whatever, but you're blessed. You're the first one to receive it. And we also have a lot of other books from School of Money, counseling, and things like that, so that, after, department, you can come and continue the good work. There is life after this, Sure. And let's give him a wonderful round of applause for that. Thanks so much, Ansela. And again, to the Special Olympics people, Ansela's going to be with us today, tomorrow. And we're going to be finding more on the great things that they are doing. And again, some of the TVET colleges, we need to challenge them tomorrow. Isn't Tatelekau here? Tatelekau, is he here? Please stand up from Capricorn TVET, the CEO. Thank you, my brother. Good to see you, my brother. Thank you so much. Some wonderful people online, whatever. Thank you. The next speaker is a lawyer who loves tech and AI. She's a principal corporate counsel. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Microsoft, Andrea Campbell, to give us her thoughts, and then we'll get started with the dialogue. Yeah, guys, she's going to need a click. Do we have a click? But if you can have a click for her. How you doing, madam? Lovely. Well, while we're buying time, Andrea, how long have you been at Microsoft, plus minus?
6 years. On the 1st of July, I would have been there for 6 years.
Yeah, but a lawyer who loves tech and AI, how does that come together?
Well, it wasn't intended. I have a background in FSI industry, so after starting and practicing law, I actually discovered I had a passion for numbers, and I went into the financial sector. I was there for quite a bit doing wealth management, investment planning, and Microsoft kept popping up. And I think it was just, a pivotal time where something told me, take a leap, take the chance. And to be honest with you, how the AI thing came about and the tech came about, I went on maternity leave, and during that time, ChatGPT came about with their, AI system, and I started going into a downward spiral, and I thought, look, I'm going to have to find a new career. But I spent a good amount of time actually getting to know what AI is about, and seeing that I can actually use it to empower myself and to enrich what I do, how I support others. And I started looking at the good that it does and learning a lot about it and the systems. And it bit, and I promise you, for me, it's like things have never been the same since. And now I will go and I will tell everyone about it and how good it is, and to actually just start embracing it and look at what it's going to do for us and what it does for us already. And I mean, being a new mom as well, this is what my child is going to grow up in, and I have to be very key, and I have to be an advocate, and I have to ensure, like DG said, things are done ethically, things are done responsibly. We're making the right decisions to ensure that this technology is actually going to help society. It's going to alleviate a lot of the struggles and the barriers that we have. But as Africa, as a continent, being mindful that we actually have to start developing and implementing AI systems that solve for the African continent and for our African people.
I'm going to let you go because we were with your president, Liz Lillian, in Namibia with Dr. Ambrosius. And that was my question, to say, this thing of AI, so sometimes I call it the devil, because sometimes it's still westernized, and we need to begin to put some stuff in there that will alleviate poverty and meet the needs of our people. So right now, we are here to find out, as the DG said, to open our minds. You're going to be the speaker. Trevor is coming to really teach us, what in the world is this AI? Is it African intelligence or artificial intelligence? What is this AI? So, Andrea, go for it. Teach us.
And I hope it becomes African intelligence. And I think before I segue into what I'm presenting, if I can leave one thing with everyone today, and it's nice to have such an audience, especially on the educational side, because I usually speak to a lot of companies. I think what's really key is to start thinking about how it's incorporated into our education system and how it becomes an integral part of what kids are learning. How lawyers, engineers, architects also start to incorporate AI into what they do. We need those specific people, those industries, those specialties to develop as well, to come to the party for everyone to develop together. I think that's how Africa will move forward. That's how we will spearhead in this era of AI. But thanks for that. So, like Doctor said, my name is Andrea Campbell. I'm an attorney at Microsoft. I support the Central Europe, Middle East, and Africa teams from a commercial perspective, but also I'm a certified techie, and I'm very, very passionate about AI and advocating for AI. And today I'm going to be talking to all of you about the era of AI we find ourselves in, but what's also known as the new AI economy and what that actually looks like. I'm clicking and... So the new AI economy and what that actually looks like for us, I think you would have heard this as a buzzword going around, but it is what it is. Data has become the new gold, right? And it's a race for everyone to get in on it. From an African perspective, what it looks like for us, just for the African continent on its own, it's said to bring with 1.5 trillion USDs worth of additional GDP to what we have now within the next 3 to 5 years. I think the speed of which AI is progressing is at a rate that no one can keep up with. I think this number will grow increasingly as the days and the months, go on. So it was said to be 5 years. I would say it's probably something like 3 years now. You'd see right at the bottom, education is one of the call-outs as an industry in which innovation will be really, really key and paramount in respect of AI. Why I share this with you is because we need to sort of, as South Africa, start thinking about how we approach AI. I always like to share this story, and it's very similar to when the printing press came about. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the story of the printing press, but it's sort of similar to the era of AI that we're facing now. The Ottoman Empire, as it was known in those days, it would be seen as sort of the Middle East right now. They were faced with the same conundrum that we're faced with, right? The printing press came about. It was developed, or it was invented in the region of Europe around Germany, and they had a lot of concerns around it. They thought it would spread misinformation, they thought it would bring a lot of change which they weren't ready for. They had a lot of fears about the unknowns, similar things that you hear around AI today. And they decided, instead of embracing it, instead of taking calculated steps to use it to their advantage and to mitigate the risks, they suppressed it. What happened to the Ottoman Empire, which was at that point known for being very knowledgeable, they were key in the global sort of financial space, with regards to, you'll go around and you'll hear, they'll always talk about sort of the Middle East and the wealth of knowledge that the Middle East brought. They became irrelevant. They became a suppressed nation because they suppressed the printing press. What did happen with the printing press, though? Sorry, and this clicker keeps delaying. Oh, let me go back one. It started spreading, regardless of what the Ottoman Empire did, right? It's much the same as AI. if we don't embrace it, if we don't take and seize the moment, and I think we're already at the point of where we're sort of missing the moment, right? Other countries are leaps and bounds ahead of us. If we don't heed the moment, if we don't embrace AI, we're going to get left behind, and it's similar to what happened to them. You can see it's a nice chart of how the printing press started spreading throughout the world. In hindsight, was it that bad? No, it wasn't. It's a way today which, you know, most things are done. And it's very similar, the story to AI. I want to share a quote with you from our CEO, Satya Nadella. And it's very key to what the DG said as well. And he said that the most critical next step in our pursuit of AI is to agree on an ethical and an empathetic framework for its design. And this is paramount, right? We need to start thinking about how governments are approaching it, how companies approach it, how the public sector approaches it. Because from this way, like from this path on, what we do in this space determines the impact of AI. And I think this, for us at Microsoft, we believe is very key, and it's one of our foundational beliefs that it should be embedded, and like it's a basic human right, right? Privacy, human privacy, and ethics should be underpinned when you're creating technology. I really don't know where I'm clicking. Oh, there we go. Just a quick snapshot. AI isn't that new. It's been around since the 1950s. It was initially known as artificial intelligence. Through the years, it started morphing and growing, right? Machine learning came about in 1997, and then we're eventually where we find ourselves now with deep learning. Then deep learning came about in 2017, and now we find ourselves with generative AI. The difference here with generative AI is AI, or the technology, is actually at the point where it's able to create its own independent thoughts. Previously, it was repeating what it was taught, right? So like a robot, it's past that point now. It can actually learn, and it can better what it's learned. And there it becomes the key point in where we think about how it's developed ethically and responsibly. So at Microsoft, we've known this, and our journey started as early as 2017, and that's even before the deep learning, where we actually started realizing, well, we need to approach this in a very ethical and responsible way, because people will use technology that they can trust. That's why we came up with our responsible AI principles. There are 6 principles, and all of our technology, all of our applications, all of our systems are developed on this. They are fairness, privacy and security, transparency, reliability and safety, inclusiveness and accountability. So we're a technology partner that can be trusted, because to us, this is extremely key. Our corporate standards, how we implement our technology, how we implement the AI that we develop, and the oversight that we have of that as well, is underpinned by these 6 responsible AI principles. In addition to that, we went a step further, and we thought, well, we need to start working with government. We need to start getting a global standard. And what we landed on was the 5-point blueprint for governing AI, which most governments globally actually sign up to and they implement as well when they are creating regulation, when they are thinking about legislation and policies and how AI should be implemented, how